Have you ever wondered why two neighbors earning the exact same $60,000 salary can end up in completely different financial worlds? One retires at 55 with $1 million portfolio, while the other works until 70 and still worries about paying bills. What's the real difference? It's not luck. It's not connections. It's not even talent. Look, I get it. You've been told that your salary determines your wealth, that you need a six-figure income to build real money. But that's exactly what keeps most Americans trapped in financial mediocrity. Here's what's crazy. The ancient Babylonians understood wealth principles 4,000 years ago that most people today completely ignore. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share 10 counterintuitive strategies that can transform any salary into lasting wealth. And wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. The seventh principle I'll reveal has helped ordinary people build extraordinary fortunes, but 90% of Americans do the exact opposite. If you're ready to think differently about money, hit subscribe and comment wealth mindset below. But that's just the obvious part. What I'm about to say is what makes the difference. Let's start with the most important principle that changes everything. 1. Define your why first. Most people chase money without knowing why they want it. They save randomly, spend impulsively, and wonder why their financial life feels chaotic. They're like ships sailing without a destination, getting tossed around by every financial storm that hits. Let me tell you an ancient story that changes everything. Two ship captains received identical vessels, crews, and supplies. The first captain set sail immediately, eager to find treasure. He had no map, no destination, just a vague desire to get rich. He sailed in circles, his crew grew frustrated, and eventually they ran out of supplies and had to return home empty-handed. The second captain spent weeks studying maps, talking to successful merchants, and defining exactly where he wanted to go. He chose a specific island known for rare spices. When storms hit, he stayed on course. When his crew doubted, he reminded them of their clear destination. After months of focused sailing, they reached the island and returned with wealth that lasted generations. Here's what most Americans miss. Without a crystal-clear financial purpose, every dollar becomes a guess. You'll spend money on things that don't matter and skip investments that could change your life. But when you know exactly why you want wealth, every financial decision becomes simple. So stop right now and answer this question with brutal honesty. Why do you want to be wealthy? Is it to protect your family from uncertainty? To retire before your body breaks down? To prove you can break your family's cycle of financial struggle? To have the freedom to say no to jobs that drain your soul? Write down your specific reason. Not, I want more money, but I want $500,000 invested so I never have to choose between paying rent and buying medicine. Make it hurt. Make it personal. Make it bigger than any excuse you might create. When your why becomes clear, saving isn't a sacrifice, it's a strategy. Investing isn't scary, it's necessary. And every dollar you earn becomes a soldier in your army of freedom. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Because even with the clearest purpose, most people sabotage themselves with toxic beliefs about money they learned as children. 2. Heal your money mindset. Your relationship with money was programmed before you could even spell dollar. Every phrase you heard growing up, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are greedy, we can't afford that, created invisible walls around your financial potential. And until you tear down those walls, no strategy will work. There's a powerful story from the Bible that reveals everything. A wealthy master gave 3 servants different amounts of money before leaving on a journey. The first 2 servants invested their money and doubled it. But the third servant? He buried his money in the ground because he was afraid. He was terrified of losing what he had, so he never risked growing it. When the master returned, he praised the first 2 servants and gave them even more. But the third servant who let fear control him, he lost everything. The master's words were harsh but true. To those who use what they have, more will be given. From those who don't, even what they have will be taken away. Here's what hits hard. That fearful servant represents most Americans today. They're so afraid of losing money that they never learn to grow it. They keep it safe in checking accounts, earning nothing while inflation eats it alive. They avoid investing because someone once told them it's gambling. They feel guilty about wanting wealth because they were taught that good people shouldn't care about money. But money isn't evil. Money is just energy, concentrated human value. In the right hands, it builds hospitals, funds education, and creates opportunities. In fearful hands, it stagnates and dies. Right now, write down every negative belief you have about money and wealthy people. Then ask yourself, is this belief helping me or holding me back? Because if you believe rich people are selfish, your mind will sabotage any attempt to build wealth. If you think wanting money is shallow, you'll unconsciously push opportunities away. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because even after you heal your money wounds, most people still fail because they try to sprint when they should be building systems. 3. Build systems over speed. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Everyone wants to get rich quickly, but that desperation for speed is exactly what keeps people poor. They jump from strategy to strategy, chase hot investment tips, and abandon their plans the moment results don't appear overnight. You know the ancient fable of the tortoise and the hare. The hare was naturally faster, more talented, more gifted. He sprinted ahead while the tortoise moved at his steady, methodical pace. The hare got distracted, took shortcuts, stopped to rest, thinking he could make up time later. Meanwhile, the tortoise never stopped moving. Step by step, hour by hour, he maintained his system. And we all know who won. Here's what most people miss about that story. It wasn't about being slow. It was about being systematic. The tortoise had a process he trusted completely. He didn't need motivation every day because his system was stronger than his emotions. Your finances need that same approach. Instead of looking for the next get-rich-quick scheme, build unbreakable financial habits. Automate your savings so it happens whether you feel like it or not. Set up automatic investments that keep working even when the market scares you. Create monthly money meetings with yourself to review and adjust. Most Americans treat their money like the hare treated that race. Sporadic bursts of effort followed by long periods of neglect. They save $500 one month, then spend $800 the next. They start investing, then panic and pull everything out when the market dips. They live in constant financial chaos because they trust their emotions more than their systems. But when you build rock-solid financial systems, something magical happens. Your money grows even when you're sleeping. Your wealth accumulates even when you're distracted by life. Your progress becomes inevitable because it's not dependent on your daily mood or motivation. Here's your assignment. Choose 3 financial behaviors and make them automatic. Maybe it's saving 10% before you pay any bills. Maybe it's investing $100 every Friday. Maybe it's reviewing your spending every Sunday morning. Wait, the most important part is in the following story. Because even with perfect systems, most people still struggle because they're trying to build wealth with an empty mind. 4. Invest in your financial mind. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Most Americans will spend $200 on dinner without blinking, but refuse to spend $20 on a book that could change their financial future. They'll invest thousands in their car, but zero in their financial education. That backwards thinking keeps them broke forever. Here's a story that changed how I see everything. When Solomon became king of Israel, God appeared to him in a dream and said, "Ask for whatever you want, and I will give it to you." Imagine that moment. Unlimited power, endless wealth, eternal youth, anything was possible. But Solomon's answer shocked everyone. He didn't ask for gold or armies or a long life. He asked for wisdom to understand and discern between good and evil. God was so impressed by Solomon's choice that he gave him not only the wisdom he requested, but also the riches and honor he didn't ask for. Solomon became the wealthiest king in history, not because he chased money, but because he chose knowledge first. The wisdom multiplied everything else. Here's what most people miss. Knowledge is the only asset that appreciates forever. Your car loses value the moment you drive it home. Your clothes become worthless after a few years. But what you learn about money, investing, and wealth building compounds for the rest of your life. Right now, dedicate 5% of your monthly income to feeding your financial mind. Buy books on investing, take courses on real estate, listen to podcasts by people who've built real wealth, attend seminars, hire mentors, and join investment groups. Every dollar you spend on financial education returns tenfold in better decisions. Stop treating financial ignorance like it's cute or acceptable. In today's economy, not understanding money is like not knowing how to read. It limits everything you can achieve. The wealthy spend their time learning, while the poor spend their time being entertained. Which group do you want to join? And it's in the next section that many people make mistakes without even knowing it. Because even with all the knowledge in the world, if you're depending on just one income source, you're still vulnerable. 5. Create multiple springs. 350 words. I'll tell you something that many people regret for the rest of their lives, just because they didn't realize it in time. Relying on a single paycheck is like building your house on quicksand. One layoff, one economic downturn, one health crisis, and everything you've worked for can disappear overnight. The ancient Babylonian merchants understood something most Americans today have forgotten. They never, ever depended on a single water source. In the desert, water meant survival, so successful traders always established 7 different springs to supply their caravans. If one dried up, they had 6 others flowing. If bandits poisoned one well, their people still had clean water to drink. Here's what's crazy. While one spring might fail, the chances of all 7 failing simultaneously were practically zero. Those merchants became the wealthiest traders in the ancient world because they understood a principle that modern Americans ignore. Diversification isn't just smart, it's survival. Your job is your primary spring, but it's not enough. You need additional streams flowing into your life. Maybe you teach guitar lessons on weekends. Maybe you sell digital courses based on your expertise. Maybe you flip items online or rent out a spare room. Maybe you invest in dividend-paying stocks that send you checks every quarter. The beauty of multiple income streams isn't just the extra money, it's the peace of mind. When you have 5 different ways money flows to you, losing one doesn't destroy you. It just makes you adjust and keep moving forward. Start small. Use your existing skills and knowledge. If you're good with numbers, offer bookkeeping services. If you're handy, do weekend repairs. If you understand social media, help local businesses. The goal isn't to replace your job immediately, it's to create backup systems that grow stronger over time. Most people wait for permission to start earning from multiple sources. But permission never comes. The economy doesn't care if you're ready. Your bills don't pause while you figure things out. Do you see anything unusual? The answer is right here. Even with multiple income streams, most people still waste their most valuable asset. The one thing that, once lost, can never be recovered. 6. Use time as sacred currency. All of the above will be meaningless if you miss the last detail. While you're building multiple income streams, there's one resource you're probably wasting that's worth more than money itself. Time. Every hour you spend scrolling social media is an hour you could have spent learning a skill that pays you for life. Every evening you waste watching Netflix is an evening you could have used to build your side business. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire at its peak, understood something most people never grasp. He wrote, "Time is the most valuable thing we can spend." Think about that. The most powerful man in the ancient world, someone who literally owned gold mines and controlled vast treasures, believed time was more precious than any of it. Here's why he was right. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Every minute that passes is gone forever. And here's what's brutal. Most Americans treat their free time like it's worthless. They come home from work and immediately switch to entertainment mode. They spend 3 hours a night watching TV, then wonder why their lives aren't changing. But successful people see time differently. They understand that every free hour is either building their future or stealing from it. There's no neutral ground. You're either investing your time in growth or you're spending it on temporary pleasure. Start tracking your time for 1 week. Write down how many hours you spend on social media, TV, video games, and meaningless conversations. Then ask yourself, if I redirected just 2 of these hours each day toward learning about investing, building a side business, or developing a valuable skill, where would I be in 1 year? Here's the math that will shock you. 2 hours a day for 1 year equals 730 hours. That's more than enough time to learn real estate investing, build an online business, or master a high-income skill. Most people waste that much time in 3 months of mindless scrolling. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Because even if you manage your time perfectly, hidden expenses are quietly stealing your wealth every single day. 7. Stop the silent leaks. There's an old Jewish proverb about a man who couldn't understand why he stayed poor despite working hard every day. He carried water from the well to sell in the marketplace, but his earnings never seemed to accumulate. One day, a wise merchant examined his bucket and discovered dozens of tiny holes in the bottom. "You can carry water all day," the merchant explained, "but until you fix the holes, you'll never fill the bucket." Most Americans have the same problem with their money. They earn decent salaries, they even try to save, but their wealth keeps disappearing through financial holes they don't even see. These silent leaks are destroying more dreams than any market crash ever could. Look at your bank statements from the past 3 months. How much are you paying for subscriptions you forgot you had? That gym membership you haven't used since January? The premium streaming services you signed up for during lockdown? Those food delivery apps charging you convenience fees? Is the credit card interest because you paid 3 days late? Here's what's insane. The average American has $273 in monthly subscriptions they don't actively use. That's $3,276 per year literally thrown away. Invested at 7% return, that money becomes $45,000 in 15 years. You're not just losing money, you're losing compound growth that could fund your retirement. But the biggest leak isn't subscriptions, it's impulse spending. The coffee shop visits add up to $150 per month. The Amazon purchases you make when you're bored. The upgraded phone plan you don't need. The brand name groceries when generic work just as well. Rich people plug every leak before they try to increase the flow. They audit their expenses monthly. They cancel what they don't use religiously. They question every recurring charge, because they understand that every dollar saved is a dollar that can be invested, and every dollar invested is $10 in the future. Stop the bleeding first. Then focus on earning more. Because no matter how much money flows in, holes in your bucket will keep you poor forever. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. 8. Pay your future self first. But that's just the obvious part. What I'm about to say is what makes the difference. Most people pay everyone else first. The landlord, the credit card company, the grocery store, the government, and then wonder why there's nothing left for their future. They treat themselves like the least important creditor in their own financial life. There's an ancient story that reveals the secret to lasting wealth. In Egypt, a Hebrew named Joseph interpreted Pharaoh's dream about 7 years of abundance, followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph's advice was brilliant but simple. During the good years, store 1/5 of all grain before anyone consumes anything. Put it in warehouses and guard it carefully. Pharaoh followed this wisdom. While other nations suffered and starved during the famine, Egypt became the wealthiest kingdom in the world because it paid its future selves first. They didn't wait to see what was left over. They took their portion off the top before anyone else got fed. Here's what most Americans do backwards. They pay everyone else first, then try to save whatever crumbs remain. But there are never any crumbs because expenses expand to fill every dollar available. Your future self gets nothing, while your present self gets everything. The moment your paycheck hits your account, 10% should immediately disappear into a separate savings account. Not 10% of what's left after bills, 10% of everything, before rent, before groceries, before entertainment. This isn't a suggestion, it's a law of wealth building. Your future self is the most important person in your financial life because that's who will either thank you or curse you for today's decisions. Every dollar you don't pay your future self today is a dollar your future self will have to earn through extra years of working. Make this automatic. Set up the transfer so it happens without your emotional interference. Because your present self will always find reasons to spend that money on something urgent. But your future self will pay the price for those weak moments. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because even after you start paying yourself first, most people have no idea how to direct that money intelligently. 9. Master the flow. And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference between building wealth and just moving money around aimlessly. Most people treat their income like water from a broken fire hydrant. It sprays everywhere, with no direction, no purpose, no control. Then they wonder why they're always financially soaked, but never financially satisfied. Ancient Chinese engineers built the most sophisticated irrigation systems in human history. They understood something profound. Water without direction becomes a flood that destroys everything. But water with proper channels becomes the lifeblood that creates abundance. Every drop had a purpose, every canal had a destination, every gate had a keeper who controlled the flow. Your money needs that same level of intentional direction. When your paycheck arrives, it shouldn't just sit in one account waiting for random expenses to attack it. It needs specific channels. 10% flows to investments, 10% to emergency savings, 50% to necessities, 20% to lifestyle, 10% to education and growth. Here's where most people fail. They budget like they're punishing themselves instead of directing their power. They see budgeting as a restriction when it's actually the ultimate freedom. Because when every dollar has a clear mission, you stop making emotional money decisions that you regret later. Rich people don't control money through willpower. They control it through systems. They set up automatic flows so their money moves to the right places without daily decisions. Their investment account fills up whether they feel like investing or not. Their emergency fund grows whether they remember it or not. Start treating your budget like a water master treats irrigation channels. Every income stream needs a predetermined path. Every expense category needs clear boundaries. Every financial goal needs a dedicated flow of resources. Most people let their money flow wherever it wants, then complain about being broke. But you're going to be different. You're going to master the flow, direct every dollar with intention, and watch your wealth grow systematically. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Because even perfect money management means nothing if you don't understand how small, consistent actions create extraordinary results over time. 10. Plant seeds consistently. You think you've understood everything? There's a detail that few people notice, but it's extremely important. Most Americans want their money to grow like magic beans from a fairy tale. Plant today, harvest a fortune tomorrow. But real wealth grows like oak trees, not like mushrooms. Jesus told a story that reveals everything about building lasting wealth. A farmer went out to plant seeds. Some seeds fell on hard ground where nothing could grow. Others fell among rocks and sprouted quickly, but died when difficulties came. Some fell among thorns and got choked out by distractions. But the seeds that fell on good soil grew steadily and produced 30, 60, even 100 times what was planted. Here's the hidden truth. It wasn't the seeds that made the difference. It was the soil and the consistency. The farmer who succeeded didn't plant once and walk away. He prepared the ground, planted regularly, watered faithfully, and protected the growth season after season. Your investments need that same approach. Most people plant financial seeds sporadically. They invest $500 one month when they feel motivated, then nothing for 6 months when life gets busy. They expect massive growth from inconsistent effort. That's like expecting a harvest from seeds you plant randomly. But compound interest rewards consistency, not intensity. A person who invests $200 every single month for 20 years will have more wealth than someone who invests $2,000 once a year for 20 years, even though they invested the same amount. The consistent planter benefits from dollar cost averaging and the power of time. Set up automatic investments that happen whether you remember or not. Choose boring, reliable investments over exciting gambles. Focus on the process, not the daily fluctuations. Some months your investments will grow, other months they'll shrink, but over decades, consistent planting in good soil always wins. Most people sabotage their own financial gardens by constantly digging up their seeds to see if they're growing. But you're going to plant consistently. Protect your growth and trust the process that has created wealth for centuries. Stop looking for shortcuts. Start planting seeds. Your future forest depends on what you plant today. Look, here's the bottom line. Your salary isn't your financial sentence. It's your starting point. These 10 principles aren't just ancient stories. They're the blueprint that turns ordinary paychecks into extraordinary wealth. Define your why, heal your money wounds, build unbreakable systems, and never stop learning. Create multiple income streams. Guard your time like gold. Plug every financial leak, and always pay your future self first. Master your money flow and plant investment seeds consistently. The difference between those who build wealth and those who stay broke isn't luck or talent. It's applying these timeless principles with modern consistency. Pick one strategy from today's video and implement it this week. Don't wait for perfect conditions that never come. Which principle hit you hardest? Comment "Game Changer" and tell me which story you're going to apply first. If this opened your eyes to new possibilities, subscribe and hit that notification bell, because next week I'm revealing the investment mistakes that destroy more wealth than market crashes. Your financial freedom starts with your next decision. Make it count.